Ooh, microphone helps. How are you guys? This is Matt from DTO. Uh, just let some people join us here today. Ismael, how are you? I'm doing good today. I'm looking forward to doing some teaching for you guys. And Aurora, good to see you here today. Sabby, how are you? I should actually move this over to the. There we go. Okay, that's cool. Move that over slightly. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay. All right. I think Ileana, hey, how are you? Chuck, how are you? Good to have you guys here on the live stream. Awesome. All right. So Celine, welcome Celine. Lily Poppy, that's a cool name. Hey Paul, how are you? Nancy, thank you for joining us today. You guys will let me know if there's any thing wrong with the voice here today before we get started. Frankie J, Ann Carr, Dana, welcome. Richard, Jean Philippe, how are you guys doing? Awesome. David, good to have you. I really want to appreciate all of you guys joining me here today live on YouTube. And Michael, welcome. So what I'd like to do for you, Michael, hey, Michael, back from the Netherlands, so exotic. I'm just here on Eastern Long Island. All you see is pine trees. Nothing like the Netherlands. That sounds so nice. But I'm sure there's lots of evergreens in the Netherlands as well. Emily, Judy, Barbara, Aura, Fernando, and Marie. Welcome, welcome. All right, so there's a lot of you guys here today. And again, I really appreciate you joining me here today. So when I do some work with people with the coaching, sometimes the question comes up, do I always have to start a portrait drawing with the edge of the hair? Do I always have to do that windmills? Do I always have to do that kind of envelope thing, the block in, whatever you want to call it? I call it the angles. Do I always have to do that? And the answer is absolutely not. You know, the beautiful thing about drawing and painting is that you can start things many, many different ways. And you kind of could start things different ways depending on your mood, depending on your reference, depending on where you are in terms of your education and how far along you've been doing this. I've changed how I've done portrait drawings many, many times. And it kind of just keeps it interesting. And as a teacher, certainly when you have 20 different people in your classroom, 20 different students, some students may learn one way, other students may learn a different way. So students are always going to learn different ways. So as a teacher, it's your responsibility to give people options and not just say, here's my method, learn it or screw you. You know, that's not how a teacher should teach. A teacher should definitely, you know, be comfortable in their shoes and not try to be everything to everybody, you know, do their thing. And my thing is kind of semi-realism and figure drawing and portrait drawing in more of a traditional way. But I still want to give people options. So today's lesson is on this drawing by Anthony Van Dyck. And Anthony Van Dyck, we're going old school. We're talking like we're talking some like real old school stuff, late 1500s. I think the painting that you see here was done 1641, which is really hard to fathom that it's 2020 and I'm drawing something from 1641. Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty good history with Anthony Van Dyck. I have this, look at how thick this book is. This thing weighs a ton. And I went to this show years and years ago with my dad. We kind of stumbled upon it. We were at the Washington Museum and it was just there. And my dad's really not a museum goer, but he drove me because I think I was like first year of college. And look at this book. I mean, it is loaded with beautiful, beautiful artwork. And I bought some really, really nice posters from the show. And I had these posters hanging up in my room for many, many years when I was in college. And I'd wake up in the morning and I would see the posters. And I mean, pretty cool stuff. So I didn't know, each week when I think about so that's the book, and the book is heavy. You can see I just kind of almost took the microphone out. Let's put that away. Just by my side, I have two different books here. I was doing a drawing. This is a really, really great artist as well. I don't want to go off on a tangent because I know that your time is valuable, and I'm going to start drawing in less than 2 minutes. Just a little chat here before we get started. This is a wonderful book of wildlife paintings by this artist, Carl Brenders. Now, he's a modern day artist, so I don't want to, kind of mess with anyone's copyright here. But this is a book that I keep nearby, and I was just doing something with a landscape drawing, and I was just looking at the way that he paints, landscape stuff. He's just unbelievable. He does a lot of mixed media. So that book's by my side as well. Two different opposing artists. And I'll show you a drawing at the end. Let's get started here. So I'm just, again, I'm going to keep it really simple. Let's see the cover, please. This is the cover of the Anthony Van Dyck book. It's simple. That's the cover. Okay? It's unbelievable. That was the poster that I bought. And that's cropped. You don't see the whole thing. But yeah, it's just Anthony Van Dyck. I bought it from the museum. Okay. Let me just, that's heavy. Okay. So I have one question. Want class must go in the beginning. Okay, I don't know what that means, but alrighty. Yeah, it's a really cool book. So let's get started here. Now, again, the focus of today's class is not starting a portrait with the angles. It's just starting to draw from the eye, and you branch your way out from that section. Okay, let's just draw here, and I'll chat as I draw. So I put a little mark here for myself just to kind of plan out how I was going to do this. This is white paper, but it actually looks very dark because there's nothing really dark on it. So as soon as I start to draw, we'll darken up a little bit. Okay, so just looking. So I'm going to start at the corner of his eye. Let me take some of the edge off of this pencil. Start at the corner of his eye, just nice and relaxed. I'm going to go up to his eyebrow. So sometimes you start a drawing at an area that looks easy for you to understand. So let me repeat what I just said. Sometimes you just want to start drawing or painting in an area that looks really easy for you to understand. Okay, so right now when I look at, this is a self-portrait painted by Anthony Van Dyck. The photo reference is in a link in the description below. So if you just click show more down below, you will find the link to the photo reference at the National Gallery of Art. And it's pretty cool. So I'm starting at his eyebrow. That mess that you see there, I got to zoom in. Okay, or else this is going to put you all to sleep. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Good. And so eyebrow, okay? Now, if you want to see this a little bit bigger, the photo reference, definitely go to that link and download it. So I can see immediately that this eyebrow, I just kind of want to have fun with this. I don't want to turn it into this big thing that has to be perfect. So now there's this dark over here. And then there's this section. I'm going to lift this a little bit. And I'm just going to do an up and down pencil stroke. Super simple. Okay. So top of the eyebrow area. Painting is very soft. Okay. And then we're going to come down near the bridge of the nose. The bridge of the nose. And then a little bit over here of this little... I should zoom in even more for you. I feel as though that this is just way too far away. Okay, let me slide this over a touch. Good, I'll zoom out as we progress. And so, starting with the eye, I'm going to go very soft over here. And we're going to look for differences in light versus shadow. So we're going to get in his upper eyelid. we're going to go to the tear duct area. We can come on down over here to this little dark. All right, and now let's get the eyelid line, which angles up. And then we're going to go down to the tear duct area. Okay. Now, what I like to do when I'm drawing an eye is I like to, now I'm trying not to press down too hard, high dawn, and I just am light pressure. So if we make a mistake, we can just easily erase out. So this corner of the eye to the tear duct kind of feels level. Okay. So now let's just roll that and let's get Anthony Van Dyck's eye. So you don't want to worry so much at this point in the game of starting a portrait drawing of being absolutely perfect with everything. That's why I'm starting off so very light. Now, is the goal to get things in proportion to? Of course. But do you want to suffocate yourself with perfection? No, you don't. So I'm just, that's where I'm starting. And now I'm looking immediately at the distance from the edge of his eye to the tear duct. And his eye is shorter than what I have, okay? So that's something that I'm noticing immediately. So just resharpening the pencil, and let's come on back, and let's... yeah, I got Truffles in the office snoring already. She was driving me a little crazy this week with the snoring. So I'm just trying to look at the white of the eye. What I could say is that Anthony Van Dyck's eye is very big. So I'm going to just circle out where I want the highlight. Okay, and I'm just going to do an up and down pencil stroke to block in Anthony Van Dyck's eye. So that's my initial block in. It's not the prettiest, but that's where I would start. Hi, Dawn. And yeah, so now let's start over again. And what we need to do is we just need to get the white of the eye shape. So the white of the eye shape for me is very important. And I'm definitely going a little too big with the white of the eye. So immediately I'm going to just size down. And this shouldn't be this hard, actually. This should be easier. Now, let's lean back. Lean back, and right now as we look at it, it looks absolutely terrible. But if it looks terrible, don't get discouraged. Just keep pushing. Okay? So just keep pushing. And, here's the thing. Let's go back to what this class is all about. This class is all about starting a portrait drawing in a small little section. So the beautiful thing about that is that if you screw up, it's a small controlled area. Okay? So now I'm probably going to make his whole entire, where's my kneaded eraser? Here we go. I'm probably going to make his whole entire eyebrow go much higher than what I have. So let's just erase that out. You can see how easy that comes off. So just pulling out the lights. Okay. And let's go back now and bring this in. How is the hardest art class? And I'm not sure what that question is. What do I think? How is the hardest art class? You got to clarify that question for me. I'm not quite sure what you mean. What is the hardest art class to teach? What is the hardest thing to learn how to draw? Maybe you can clarify that question for me. So just going a little bit slower than I would have liked. Now let's go a little bit faster. Let's get this eyebrow tilted up, shadow line, and then our eyebrow. And all of this is going to move over to the right. Big dark eyebrow over here. My goodness gracious. Okay, let's okay. To learn. How's the hardest art class? What do you think to learn? Okay, so I'm just going to guess at that question. Hands. I think for students, hands is a very difficult topic because hands just can contort, hands and fingers can contort into really weird shapes. Okay, so I would say it would be hands. No doubt about it, because there's just so many little details with, let's do the lower eyelid. So I think that was your question. Hands. I'm going to answer. For me as a teacher, you have to be on your toes when you teach how to draw hands. Now, this comes down to the lower eyelid. So we even if the white of the eye is too big right now, I'm just going to leave it, because what's really important is you get out of the perfectionist mentality and you just have fun. Okay, we're not matching values just yet. We're just laying in very soft tone. And it's very, very, very easy to fall into that trap, because it is a trap and it will make your drawing day not so fun. If something is not perfect, just keep going. Okay, thanks, Anne. I appreciate that. Just keep going. Don't get stuck. Because we can, as artists, you could really get discouraged. You know, big topic for a lot of the coaching students this week was, it was with like 4 different people. And I should zoom in a little bit more. Yep. It was with 4 different people, and the topic was the good and the bad of the internet. And it was, God, what do you do when you see somebody who's so good? Sometimes it could be so discouraging when you learn. And what I just keep reminding everybody who I talk about this topic to is that when you see somebody's artwork on their website or their video tutorials on YouTube or whatever, their work, period, whether they're a teacher or whether they're just a fine artist or an illustrator, what you never see is their bad work, okay? You see my bad work because you see me struggling. I don't hide anything. You know, I tell you that there are days that I draw really, really good and everything's easy, and there are days that are brutal for me. But when you look at, let's just say, a still image of somebody's artwork, it could be so discouraging because they're so good and you're like, oh my God, I can't even do this one simple thing. And look at this person. They're unbelievably great. And what you have to understand about that is you're never going to see their struggle. You're never going to see their bad artwork. You're only going to see their perfect portfolio, which is a little unfair. And so you have to put things into context. So Made by Dawn, I've been doing exercises in composition. I've been using the rule of third, but recently I heard about the golden ratio. I can't seem to get it, though. The golden ratio, I do talk about that in the landscape live stream. So you might want to check that out. Yeah. Don't. We'll match the values. I mean, in the beginning, I'll get back to that, Dawn. In the beginning, it's about shapes, and in the beginning, for me personally, it's really about working with soft values, middle tones in essence. I really want to work with middle tones first, and why? Because it creates a soft atmospheric environment for the drawing, and that's kind of my style sometimes. And it also allows you, if you've made a mistake, to erase it out very easily. And I've made quite a few mistakes already, but it's okay. Now, the golden ratio for me is this very, very heady way to compose. I don't use it that much. Matt, the bump music you use on you really adds to the essence of the videos. Thank you. Dana, it was really, that one, I'm a Simpleton, that was from iMovie. iMovie has a whole bunch of free stuff that you could use. Okay, so let's it's funny because there are other people who've created YouTube videos who have used the same bumper music, and it's weird when I hear it. Okay, so that's how I would start this piece. Now, um, could I adjust? Could I be anal? Could I make it perfect? Sure, I could do all of that. Okay, I could make this form shape the eraser. Yeah, so let's just pull out. I'm keeping it soft, guys. I'm not, I just recently did finish the drawing. It's on my Instagram, but you can see it on my website, matthewarchambault.com, and you just click on figure drawings. And I was very linear with everything. How I've started with this is extremely painterly. So I love outlines, and a lot of people ask me, why are you using the outlines? And it's just something that I gravitate towards now. I used to do the tone next to tone all the time, and drawing tone next to tone is great, and I love it. But I've kind of evolved, and I like line more than just using tone next to tone. What do you think for the new year in the art school? Well, what I think in the new year in the art school, it sucks. At the School of Visual Arts is only teaching online. So I'm going to be in my office here teaching on Zoom a lot, and I'd rather be in the classroom working with the models. So yes, I'm going to say that that decision sucks. But it's not my art college. It's the School of Visual Arts decisions to make, not me. And yeah, so I don't. That was it. I don't. Yeah, not looking forward to it. I love working with the students in person. I love working with the models in person. I like life drawing in the classroom. There's so much more that we can do in the classroom. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there are some benefits to teaching online for me, because there's a lot of things that I can draw digitally. And when I'm teaching composition, when I'm teaching perspective and all that, I have more options in terms of teaching certain topics. But for the figure and for portrait, I love teaching online. I'm sorry, I love teaching in person so much more than online. Okay, so we're going to leave that eye as is, and now we're going to start to branch out, because the purpose of the class is not for me to do this perfect drawing for my ego and make everything great, although that's the goal, is to make the perfect drawings for my ego. But to kind of go with the idea of, all right, we're not going to start a portrait drawing from the angles of the head. We're going to start it. Now, with that being said, yeah, wow, okay. Well, what I'm going to do also at my website, Drawing Tutorials Online, is I'm going to teach really the same thing that I'm teaching in my classroom, and I'm going to do a 15-week live class at drawingtutorialsonline.com every week on the same day at the same time, just like my classroom at the School of Visual Arts. And yeah, I've definitely decided that I'm going to do that. And I'm doing it for multiple reasons, but that's going to be a new thing. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired. I've been doing art tutorials now since 2006, and it's hard for me to just film. People don't understand when you see me on YouTube, but my website has thousands of videos, if we include all the video critiques, and then the lessons and the courses, the PDFs, all that jazz. So I'm kind of liking live a whole lot better. Okay, so now from the tear duct here, that tear duct, I'm going to move it to the left. Now we're going to go to the other side of the nose, the bridge of the nose, and we're branching out. So I'm going to go here, And maybe we're going to move it to the right ever so slightly. Jermaine, nice to have you. It's going to start in September. It's definitely going to start in September, and I'm going to treat it like it's my college class that starts in the first week in September. But college for School of Visual Arts is not starting until the third week and the last week in September. So I'm just putting in the bridge of the nose. Okay. Yeah, I know. The sketchbook videos, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do them this year because the cool thing about the sketchbook videos as a teacher is I kind of use them as a great way to foster a little bit of friendly competition in the classroom. So branch out now and let's try to look for where the edge of the hair might be. Okay. And let's go. I'm going to use an angle. So yeah, this. So I don't know how I'm going to foster that competition because when you line up everybody's sketchbooks in the classroom, I have this big table. We put all the sketchbooks on the table and everyone gets to look. I will, or trust me, I'll talk. I'm going to have a whole podcast on the live classes. So it's not something that I'm just going to spring on you. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of planning involved with it for me, but it's going to be my class that I teach at the School of Visual Arts online. And in essence, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what I teach within the members area for members only via Zoom. It's just really going to be prep for the School of Visual Arts classes that I'm going to teach a week later. But actually a month later because SVA start. So you see what I'm doing there, guys? Are those lines perfect? Let me get back to teaching and talk less about that live class thing. But just to close it out, I will definitely be telling you guys more about that because I want to just do a little bit more teaching, and I'm getting distracted. I'm distracting myself because I'm thinking about all the different things, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, Sandy, great to see you. It's okay. You didn't miss much. Not at all. And plus, you can replay it. So, all right, we have our eye. Now, the concept here is that you start in a section and you spiral your way out from the center. That's what I call. I don't take myself so seriously. I see a lot of people on YouTube and they really take themselves really seriously. I like to have fun with all this stuff. And so I like to come up with these really kooky names for some of my techniques. And this is called the spiraling out technique, where you start in one little area. That area for you looks easy to draw, and you spiral out from it, okay? And that's kind of what I'm doing right here. So I started with the eye, and the concept here is just to start. Don't make it perfect. You can, but you don't have to, okay? Because we can come back to it, and everything is relevant, all right? And there's lots of things that I see that really, really need to be fixed. But so what you have to do is if you see things that need to be fixed, you will actually see more of those things as you start to add more elements into your portrait. Now, there's other things that I can talk about which hopefully will help you. Connection lines. So where I see this little thing here that connects with his, I'm going to call it sideburn area. So it's more of a gesture line that goes across. So you want to do this connection thing. Now, this part of his hair that angles like that, it kind of is going at the same angle as this. Okay, that's a connection thing. So look at lengths. Okay, that was a tricky one to say, lengths. And then bottom of the lower eyelid here. On a guy, I have no problem putting lots of detail on the lower eyelid. I like it better. On a female, me personally, my style, I like to do less information on the lower eyelid. So right across from the lower eyelid is where that sideburn is going to start. So this is classic, classic, starting in a small area and branching out. Okay, so now I'm just going to put in a little bit of soft tone because where hair touches the face, it needs to be very soft. Okay, and I'll zoom out in a little bit. Let's just get some value down. Notice I'm not matching the value because with a pencil, specifically the Col-Erase, you have to build up the darks. You don't want to just plow in your darkest dark. You want to build it up. And I could confidently say that the same thing holds true for a regular graphite pencil. Now, let's not get stuck there. Okay, and let's just move around. So he's got a pretty big forehead, but I wouldn't call it the biggest. Let's establish. So the beautiful thing is I'm pressing down so light. And if I've made a mistake, it's really no big deal. Now, this is cool. This is really cool. So now this is a little too big. Let me use my kneaded eraser and erase this out ever so slightly. Good. And I'm going to erase out that line. Good. Now, the bridge of the nose, this is where you got to take that leap of faith. Where is that bridge of the nose? And right up above the bridge of the nose is where this angle where his forehead starts to come down. So I'm doing a little bit of measuring. This is an angle. That's a measure line. So I'm glad that I picked that up. So now we're just going to take a leap of faith. How tall is this forehead in comparison to how tall is from here to say here? And to me, the forehead is slightly shorter. Okay. Now we can angle that down. We're going to have to get Truffs to draw in a little while because she's snoring. So now I'm going to just take a leap of faith and put that angle in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add shape. Okay. Put in a little bit of shape. And let's put in, there's a little shape over here, a line that separates the light from the dark into the eyebrow. Which eyebrow is higher than the other? They are both equal, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm just going to put in, you guys probably hear Truffles snoring. I'm just going to put this in. It's hard to see, so don't even go near that eye, the other eye. Just draw the shadow shape. Now, let's do a little bit more information. So you can see I'm working in a very, very small, confined area. Okay? And now I'm going to do a little bit of furrow in the brow. This is going to help. I can't believe I'm drawing in my... sometimes my wife and I, we were getting ready to go to bed last night, and we were both tired, and we went to bed early, and we felt guilty about putting the dogs in their kennels a little bit too early. So we put them on the bed before we put them in their kennels because their kennels are in our bedroom. And we both said to each other, did you ever envision this would be our life? We have 3 dogs on the bed looking at us at 10:30 at night, and we were guilty about putting them in their kennel. Felt guilty, so yeah, it was pretty funny. Okay, furrow in the brow. And now, I never thought in a million years I would have a snoring dog in my office, but I do. Let's do some form lines that wrap around the forehead. So the forehead here is very round. What is fan art and what do you think about it? And I know I speak very much. Fan art is just when you draw artwork of people that you really, really like. And you, in essence, kind of copy their artwork and maybe tweak it a little bit. And I have no problem with that. A lot of my students at the School of Visual Arts do fan art in their sketchbook. And it's a great way to learn. It's a great way to get into somebody's head. It's almost like you're going out on a date with the artist to kind of figure out what they're into, and you're out for a cup of coffee with the artist. That is like fan art to me. Okay, you guys can hear me okay, right? Hey, sir, my man. I have no problem with fan art. As long as, you tell everyone what it's all about. It's fan art, and it's not yours. Uh, that's the most important thing. So I'm branching out, and now let's go back to this side and get his cheekbone in. So the bottom of the zygomatic arch, that's the technical name of that. Let's do some round strokes. Now, there's a really cool light that starts. Yeah, John Lennon's really cool. This guy, Anthony Van Dyck, they said, I read about this, and you can read about it too on the link in the description below. This portrait was done towards the latter part of his life, and yeah, he just looks like a rock star. Yeah, this is being saved. So now I'm going to look at this highlight. It starts at the tear duct. It comes down. I'm going to actually outline the highlight very lightly, and it comes over here to this part of his nose. He's got a pretty long nose. Like he just reminds me, like he looks like the lead singer of the rock band from the 70s, Rush, or 80s maybe. Probably, yeah, the 80s. That's when I was in high school. I should know that. Okay, angles for the nose, and take that leap of faith. Don't be perfect. Press down light. If the angles for the nose are not correct, you can go back and fix them. They don't need to be perfect the first time out. Now, what is right below? I'm really doing a lot of my drawing from the tear duct, and I don't even know if the tear duct is 100%. You got it, Kai. Okay, and so now I'm going to come on down, and his nose, very light. That needs to be lower. Let's just kind of put in some lines to get the nose started. Okay, that's really good to know. Yeah, his nose is a little bit longer. So just take that leap of faith, but lightly. So if it's not right, wow, 2.8 million images. Wow. Yeah. Geddy Lee, that's who I'm thinking about. Yeah, right? I mean, I haven't seen him in a while. My son, he's a drummer, and his music tastes have changed for the worst, unfortunately, in my opinion. And he used to listen to the music I like, but, who am I to judge? And he used to love doing Rush with his drums, but he seems to have gravitated out of that. So now let's just do a couple more angles for this nose. And the tip of the nose really goes very close to the edge of the face. Now, okay, we talked about, thank you, Dana. I'm going to definitely check that out, the Smithsonian. The Met is my go-to. So now we've got his eye. We've suggested his nose. I'm not saying his nose is perfect. So we've got what we think might be the edge of the forehead. And what is right up above the tip of his nose? It's this part here of his forehead. So pull that imaginary line down. So maybe that nose could come out a little bit more, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So what I'm going to do is draw the rest of the shape of his face. Remember, branching out from the eye. That's the whole purpose of this video. So let's just get in his shape. This reminds me of the bottom. So I'm glancing at the bottom of his eye to the bottom of his jaw. And this just reminds me of like the bottom of a coffee cup. So let's get the chin. So as we're getting the chin, you see what I did there? I'm looking now at the bottom of his nose to the bottom of his chin. I'm looking at the bottom of his eye to the bottom of the jaw. And I'm not saying what I've done here is perfect, but this is how I would go about starting to do this branching out technique, branching out from the center. Now, if I wanted to do a very, very quick thing to see if I'm right or I'm wrong or off base or on base with everything. I could immediately come on down now and just start to put in the mustache. Isn't that mustache cool? This guy just looks so much like a pirate. Very cool. And he's leaning back, looking in the mirror. From 1641, how can you do a self-portrait and look like a rock star? Did he plan this out in 1641? I don't know, but it's pretty amazing. He's definitely a stud. Okay, so mustache shape. Now, my only concern is that his nose is too short. And that's going to screw me up. So I'm not going to get too hung up on it. I'm going to keep going. Let's get the cheekbone. This part of the portrait is very difficult to see. And bottom of the eye to the bottom of the mustache. Yeah, I'm going to say that this needs to be lowered. So you see I'm lowering it by almost 1/4 of an inch. So my drawing right now is roughly 5 inches tall. Okay. Which is big for me. It's definitely big, but it looks good on video. And this would take me forever to shade, trust me. Now, I'm going to readjust. I'm going to lower the mustache because the nose, I think his nose is longer. He has a rock star long nose. So just that little tweak right here where the center of the nose touches the face. And then this little tweak over here with the mustache. Let's get the bottom of the mustache into this deeper shadow shape at the corner of his lips. And let's go center of the lips. So as I'm drawing the center of the lips, that dark line, I am looking at where this is in relationship to the bottom of his nose, as well as where it is in relationship to the bottom of the chin. Easily can fix the shimmer of the graphite with milk. No, I never heard anything like that. I guess it would be fun to experiment. It's all about the paper. It's amazing, you know, what people do with art materials. They're very creative. Okay, I am just going to now, guys, you see what I'm doing? I mapped out the mustache. I mapped out the lips. Struggling with balance of smudging my tones in the drawing. For me, there's two things that I can talk about with that. Number one is you have to keep your lights light and your shadows shadowy. Don't muddy up your lights and don't bring too many lights into your shadow. So that will help you with smudging. Number two, everything that you draw is a balance of hard and soft edges. So smudging is good for soft edges. Like over here near the bottom of the jaw, I'd smudge a little bit. Okay. And then other areas I would not smudge, like this bridge of the nose needs to be a nice sharp edge. So hopefully that answered your question. I don't know how milk works with graphite. I've never, ever heard of that. No. I wouldn't even try. Like if I put milk on my graphite drawing, it's just going to buckle the paper. On illustration board, maybe not. Has anyone ever heard of that? Okay, so he's got his neck, or part of the neck, and his goatee. Wow, he's even got a rock star goatee. And this bottom of the jaw is much closer to the bottom of the mustache. Hey, Craig, how's it going, man? We're drawing a rock star, Geddy Lee from Rush today. Absolutely. Okay, so now we can look at the sideburn area and come on down and maybe lift this. And let's get the ear. So the ear is pretty low. He's looking up. Like he has that kind of looking up at the viewer. he's looking up at himself in the mirror. So when you look up, the bottom of your ear is higher than the bottom of your nose. So just branching out. Okay. He's definitely pirate savvy right now. And we're going to get this little light on the neck to... I read just a brief snippet of this portrait, and they said that the clothing that he painted is unfinished. So who knows if this self-portrait did not take precedence over commissioned work, and I'm sure he just was always commissioned work from the royalty. And okay, so there is our blocking of his face. Let's zoom out just a touch. Okay, good. That's better. So we can get a little bit of perspective. And I find a good workable fixative sprayed on top of the drawing helps with the shine of the graphite. Graphite will always have a shine up to certain angles. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, with the graphite, as you guys know, yeah, Van Dyck, he's the best. Van Dyck Z. Graphite, yeah, I agree, will always have shine, and you get that shine when you press down really, really hard on it. But I think you'll have less sheen if you stick with like an HB B pencil. Those are like right in the middle, and I really, really like them. So I'm gonna maybe kick this over. And just squinting. Squint at also is a very good thing for you to do. Now, let's get a little bit of his hair over here. Now, you guys have seen me draw many portraits here in the live streams. And what I always do is draw shape of the hair. So let me, yeah, that's in the camera. Good. So I'm just going to loosen up and get in some of his flowy rock starish hair. It's just so cool. This is going to help. Now, if I put tone here, a practical thing, if I put tone here, I'm going to smudge the heck out of it. And I'm not ready to put tone there just yet. That's just more of a practical thing. But let's get this part of his hair so it comes up. A light brush stroke from the... Here's the furrow in the brow. Let's bring this up. So stay loose. Now, okay, another thing that I'm asked all the time is, I don't know, when should I use flowy lines versus the angles, the stiff lines? And you can see I started the portrait with tone. Then I went to angles. Now with the hair, I'm using flowy line. So I'm using 3 different techniques. Again, style has a lot to do with this. What you like has a lot to do with this. But it's my philosophy that I would like to see you work on the hair, please. Okay, or will do. It's my philosophy that the way that you draw and paint different textures is through different brush strokes or different pencil strokes. So if I want to get the flowiness of this Anthony Van Dyck's hair, I'm not going to use the angles because it's not angular. It's flowy. Another word that we can use is it's wispy. And so I want my pencil strokes to look like that. Let's zoom out and let's get this guy's hair. Cool. Let's move the drawing pad over. I'm just using plain old 18 by 24 Strathmore drawing paper. And wow, I drew this big. This would take me forever, gosh, to do this portrait. Okay, so Troy, I feel like the answer to most art questions is practice and see what works where. Yeah, absolutely. That's a fact. But you have to practice the right way, because there are people who just say, oh, I'm self-taught, and that's cool. And there's some of the best musicians are self-taught. But a little bit of technique when you're practicing goes a very long way. Because if you just haphazardly practice, You could be haphazardly practicing for years. But some people would practice one technique for like forever and they master it. But you've got to practice with purpose. It can't just be haphazardly just, okay, I'm going to practice today. Practice what? Okay. And there's practicing all different things. So let's say you want to learn how to draw a portrait. One day you could practice the surface planes and understanding the surface planes of the head. Another day you can practice light and shade and understanding all the different lights that hit somebody's portrait. Another day you could practice shading. Another day you can practice the anatomy of the face. So practice is of course, it's the hallmark, and it's what makes you better. But what are you practicing is the question, and how are you practicing? And some people hate practice, and they just kind of want to do their creative thing. So then it's really about you balancing out your time. So you could still learn, and you can still practice, but simultaneously you learn new things, and you could do your creative thing. So you're not getting bored with drawing the surface planes of the head, or you're not getting bored with practicing light and shade. The true artist is going to make all of this stuff creative. And I would not call myself the artists. I know there's people that I work with in the coaching that are more of an artist than I am. I would call myself more of a technician. And I like my time away from art and doing different things. I love art, and art is my life, and art is what I do, and art is how I earn my living. But I do like time away from art to do other things. And so, yeah, but for you guys, you have to figure out what is going to be the best way for you to get better, and efficient practices is that. Okay, so you see what I'm doing? I'm just doing these wispy strands of hair. I'm looking at shapes. So there's a shape here, from here to the sideburn that could be a little wider. Draw the other eye. Don't be afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid, but I want to, let's block it in. Okay, we'll do that. Eyebrow. What is the lesson to be learned by doing the eye this way is that the eye is contained in a shape, and the shape is the shadow shape. And a lot of people will see the shape of the eye and not the container that the eye is in. So the eye socket is the container. And in this particular instance, the eye socket, the container, is in shadow. Yeah, so what I do, hey, Telmo, what I do through teaching at the School of Visual Arts is that I practice the same techniques over and over and over again. And they're not boring. The only one that I don't love is drawing the figure with the angles. I don't like that anymore, although that used to be my hallmark way of drawing, but it's not. So I don't like that. So let's get this guy's eyebrow. It has a curious look to it. So let me work the whole drawing. So let me just do a little bit of the side. We'll come back to that. I just want to do a little bit more with the hair. This hair is out of control. Hold on a second. Truffs. Let me get Truffs because she's doing some weird thing with her mouth. We got to get her to draw on the portrait. Okay, hold on. Plus, I need to stand up for a second. So, Truffs, how you doing? You ready to draw? Huh? You want to draw a little bit? What do you think? No? Okay, let's get you to do some work here. Okay, so let's see. Let's do a little bit of shading on the hair. And let's do a little bit over here because there's a little bit of tone. What do you think? No? You're not into it? You want to go back to sleep? Yeah. Okay. We'll put Truffs back to sleep. We'll be right back. All right. I actually, God, this hair. Did you throw a ball last night for Truffs? Yeah. Um, Truffs injured her eye, so she's on pain medication right now. So she's a little out of it, but she's okay. I think I have this stuff in my backyard called beach grass, and it's actually really sharp. And so there was some animal in the beach grass, and I think she stuck her head in and scratched her eye. So you see what I'm doing here with the hair? I'm being very loose. I'm using the opposite C's. And let's just finish the drawing off here with the collar. Look at the nose, look at the collar. Doesn't need to be perfect, but we're going to feather off. One thing with portrait drawing, it's art, and so you can break the rules. That's what artists do. They break rules. But the one rule that I don't like to break is I like to show shoulders, because without shoulders, in essence, what you have is kind of like a floating head. Shoulders are really important. So we're just going to put that hair on his shoulder. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, seeing Truffs. Truffs is a son of a gun, man. She is the son of a gun. Okay, so let's just go. So we're doing the shadow shape. Doing the shadow shape. So this is proof positive that you do not have to start a portrait the same way every time. You can start a portrait with the area that looks easiest for you to draw. Now, if we're going to draw this eye, okay. So let me just talk about the hair, and then I'm going to block in this eye. So Aurora, the thing with the hair is where the part is. Here's the part. I'm going to say this is the center, and then you want to use wispy line. Number two, you want to look for shapes. So he definitely has the lights coming from top left, so you can see the shadow shape over here on his hair. You have to squint at the hair and look for the light shapes and the shadow shapes. Hair needs to be really soft. There's no pure white in the hair. The purest white is over here on the forehead. Okay, so you want to also think about, Aurora, the value ratios of the hair if you're going to match the values. Did you do the Van Dyck Z consciously? The eye, nose, mouth? No. I think, Craig, we talked about the Van Dyck Z in the coaching. You heard it from somebody, but no, I don't think of it as the Van Dyck Z, but if that works, then use it. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think of that. I think of the line that separates the light from the dark. But I think the Z that you're talking about is from here to here to here. I don't know. Yeah, I remember talking about it distinctly with the coaching. So Aurora, going back to the hair, so now what I could do is I could block in, because hair has to be soft. Let's just block in a little bit of tone over here, just the same way we did with the eye socket shape. Okay, there's the ear. I don't want to screw up the ear. Leave some white paper for that. So I'm just, see what I'm doing there? I'm starting to block in. Okay, cool. And let's do a little block in over here. I'll smudge it, but it's all good. So block in. Establish that is a shape. Because without the shape of the hair, again, you need the shape of the hair, in my opinion, to use as context for the shape of the face. Let's go a little more with this goatee. This guy is a stud, man. My God. I wish I had that hair. I would be kind of riding my bike down the street with the wind blowing in my hair. It'd be pretty fun. Take Truffs for a walk with my hair, rock star hair blowing. So the hair is a darker value than the skin. Now, am I going to sit here on this live stream and shade that the same value? I don't think so. It would take me forever to do that with this pencil. Let's just try to get his likeness without matching the values. Because you can do that, not a problem. Yeah, you don't want to do it strand by strand. So first it's check the local value. The local value, he's got dark brown hair. So that's the local value. So now you know what you're dealing with, Aurora, in terms of the value ratios. Then it's where is the light coming from? How is the light hitting Geddy Lee's hair? Okay. Then you draw a line that separates light from the dark. You squint, you see light shapes, shadow shapes. Then texture on top of form. Okay. I learned about this in second year of college, texture on top of form. So I painted a baseball hat that had an emblem on it. And the teacher said, you didn't paint the form of the hat before you painted the emblem on the front of the hat. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? So what I'm doing is just blocking in the tone of the shadow shape of the hair. And it depends on how much time you have. We can do this in a slow, methodical way, or I can be a monster and just start to press down hard, okay? Bristol. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. If you ever want to sign back up to my website, there's no pressure. I'm not doing a sales pitch. When you ever wanted to decide doing something like that, does my lens have stuff on it? You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, I see. I've got to clean my office. There's so much dust. It's out of control. When I just finished a drawing, which I'll show you at the end of this live stream, with white charcoal pencil, and the dust it creates is out of control. Yeah, post it for the critique, Aurora. Now let's do this eye. So this eye is in shadow. And the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, are the eyes level? And yeah, the eyes are level. So there's two different ways to hold your pencil. If you're timid and you have shaky hands, sometimes I get shaky hand, I hold the pencil back like this. When I'm feeling good, I hold it like this. There's no right and there's no wrong. Okay, so I'm holding it like this now, and I'm able to get that light value. So I'm going to hold it like this as I get the truffles hair off of my shirt. Okay, and I'm just going to try. The first thing I look at is, are the eyes level? And Anthony Van Dyck's eyes are fairly level. I would say that his left eye in the shadow is slightly higher, and his eyes are very close together. So this is going to, see what I'm doing here? I'm not outlining. I'm putting in a soft value for Anthony Van Dyck's eye. And now what do I see? I see immediately that I want to push this eye over. This is how I hold my pencil when I write, just like this. It's the same way that I hold it when I draw. Now, on this particular painting, Anthony Van Dyck's eyes look very close together. So there's a little suggestion of the upper eyelid. I might need to move the brow over if I don't want his eyes to look cross-eyed. So I'm pressing down a little bit harder over there. So let's move this eye. Now, I also see the white of the eye. So this is going to tell me a lot. And the more I analyze the eye, the stranger it looks. It's in the shadow. So you see what I'm doing there? I'm just suggesting it, but it looks weird. Eyelid to eyelid. Good. We might have to bring this over to the left. Let's see. Maybe the shape is too wide. I need to bring the shadow shape over to the left. Press down a little bit harder with that. Where is that white of the eye in relationship to the bridge of the nose on the shadow side? There's a little lower eyelid. And so go soft. See how soft I'm doing that? That will save you a lot of heartache. This eyebrow is much lower. Just do some soft angles. Cool. So now I'm going to go darker with the entire Now let's get an eraser and erase out that bridge of the nose. Very soft. Comments coming in. Hi, Anna. How are you? Yeah, when you analyze, when you really look at that eye, the eye that's in shadow, it's a strange eye. And when you really look at that eye in the shadow, it looks, because it's in the shadow, yeah, it kind of makes his eyes look so close together. Okay. Now I'm going to lower it. Lower that. So this would take me, guys, if I'm going to be truthful with you, it would take me a while to kind of get all this right. And it depends on your style. It depends on your day. It depends on what your goals are for the drawing. A lot of different things come into play. So you see what I'm doing? I'm going to blend this right into the hair. There's really should be not much of an edge here. It should really just be a value difference. Let's keep going. So I suggested where that eye is. I feel it needs to be lower. And lid. Cool. Let's leave it suggested right now. And bridge of the nose. Angle down. Okay, so let's see where I'm at in terms of time here. So our live stream is 1 hour and 7 minutes. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't hate it. Where's my needed eraser? It's just amazing to me. What do I do with this stuff? My God. Where do I put this stuff? My needed eraser's in my pocket. You've got to be kidding me. It's probably filled with pocket lint now. That's okay. My English is bad too, trust me. Okay, cool. Now, where else could we go with this? He's got a pretty prominent brow. So hopefully you guys learned something from today's class. I'll work on this for a little while longer. I won't leave just yet. But again, the purpose of today's class was starting a portrait in a different sort of way. And the way that we started the portrait was from the eye. You don't always have to use the angles for the edge of the hair. You don't have to. It's a great way to train. And you have to think of yourself as an artist who is in training all the time. And training means you do different things different days of the week. So maybe on Monday you do cardio. Maybe on Tuesday you do legs. Maybe on Wednesday you do upper body. Then maybe Thursday you take a day off, and Friday you run outside. So if you're trying to get into shape for whatever reason, you're going to do all different types of training. And for you, the artist, you have to think of yourself as an athlete. And same thing, you're doing different sorts of training. So maybe one day you're going to go to a life drawing class, and that's all you're going to do. So let's say you have like a full-time job and you're doing this on the side. Uh, you can say, okay, today I'm going to a life drawing class, and the goal of my training today is to practice figure drawing. And then another day could be like, okay, now I'm working on my portrait portfolio. I'm putting together a portrait portfolio. And then you have a practice day. Well, today I'm going to practice at home and I'm going to learn new different portrait techniques. So you have to do all different sorts of things. Let me catch up on what you guys are saying. Off topic, if I do the coaching, can we talk briefly about multi-streams of income? Well, Aurora, right now I've closed the coaching. I'm tapped out in terms of I have way too many coaching students, and I'm probably going to hold off on accepting any new coaching students until I don't want to give any hard and soft dates, but right now I kind of, if you haven't noticed, I took the coaching off of the website just because I have too many students and school is starting. So I'm going to not have time to do everything. So I would just for now use the critique gallery. I heard an earlier video, God, you sounded so Long Island then, like Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, I sound very Long Island. I feel like the jaw might be shorter in the painting. Okay. Um, okay, cool. Get Art Inc. by Lisa Cogding. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would go about the cloth on his shoulder the same way as I would do everything else. It's just for me shapes. Where am I now? So that's my darkest dark in the whole drawing. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, Aurora. The coaching is very cyclical, and usually I do more of the coaching in the summer months because I'm not teaching at SVA. This is the longest I've done the coaching, and I definitely had to take it off of the website because a couple people, I had enough students, and then a couple more people signed up, and I'm like, okay, now I can't take any more people because there's just not enough hours in the day, and then the quality is going to start to go downhill. All right, let's put in a little bit more dark. So putting in more shape, but the Aurora, the live classes on Zoom will certainly help you. Okay, and that's going to be within the members area. And I will be sending out links, Zoom links to members with a password. And I'm going to do the live classes the same way I do the live classes at the School of Visual Arts via Zoom. So that's going to help you a lot if you come to those classes. I know that I'm not going to make the classes the perfect time for everybody. And I know there's going to be some people who won't be able to make the time that I set out. It's going to be during the week, I'm pretty sure. Okay. I tend to see two images because I'm using the left and the right eye to analyze the picture. No, I'm just kind of, I'm not doing any tricky things with my eyes. The only tricky thing I would ever do with my eyes is squint. Yeah, because the other eye doesn't have the highlight because it's in the shadow. And the best way to draw if you're having troubles is squinting. What I'll do also for members of DTO is I will send out like a quick like little survey where you guys can tell me what would be a really ideal time for a live class. If you ask 20 people a question, you'll get 20 different answers. And I've learned that from teaching that's a great way to set yourself up for disappointment and more confusion is to ask each individual student what they think, because you'll get 20 different answers from 20 different students. So, but I'll still ask. Now, notice there's no darks. There's no darks in this drawing. That's dark. That's my grayscale. So everything is, we're going to call this all a light middle tone. That's my darkest. Maybe that little line there is that dark. But everything's light. So it's really, really important. That's my opinion. A different teacher will tell you differently. That if I'm going to do a long portrait like this, I'm going to start with these middle tones. Why? Because it's a slower process. If you have to erase, you're not going to destroy the paper. You build up everything with a middle tone and you progressively go darker. So by drawing this eye with the middle tone, I can live with it for like a half an hour or 45 minutes, depending on how long I'm going to work on this drawing. I can live with that, and I can say like, okay, I don't know if the eyes are too close together, are they too far apart? Let me just do it with a middle tone, and if it's wrong, I can adjust it. But if you go back in and you press down really hard and you make things dark immediately, that's going to be a big nightmare. Okay. All right, let's see here. Where are we? Let's just promote this edge. I feel as though I need to do a little bit more of the edge. This is a pretty dark shape over here. Into the ear. Where is that ear in relationship to his center of his lips? It's higher. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably, it's going to be hard for me to get it right for everybody. Just shapes first, guys. Just shapes. Abstract, drawing a portrait is a series of drawing abstract shapes of light and shadow, darks and lights. I'm doing an up and down pencil stroke. So with the hair, this little, the hair on this piece is just so very soft. So I'm going to see my pencil stroke, Aurora. I'm kind of curving around. I'm just thinking shapes. Now we have another shape over here that's very curvy. I got to be careful I don't smudge the whole thing here. Where is this in relationship to his nose? And I'm still, Aurora, just drawing. This would take me forever to do the hair because it's so dark. But you can see how I'm starting to build up. And yeah, we're still on the screen here. So with this, there's really not too many strands of hair. There's one over here, and there's no edge. It's so very soft. Michael, the live classes on Zoom will be for members of Drawing Tutorials Online. So I will send out to my email list of members with a password to join the live Zoom class. So now I'm just kind of going over the edge. And a little bit more curviness. Yeah, tones, not strands. Like Aurora, strands would come last. Now, sure, can I do the same technique that I did with the entirety of what we're doing here today, where I'm saying I'm starting with one area and I'm going to branch out from there? You can do the same thing with the hair. You start rendering and modeling the hair in an area that looks easiest for you to kind of wrap your brain around, if that makes sense. So, yeah. But for me right now, this is just the laborious, tedious process of shading and keep his hair. It's never really going to look like him 100% because I'm not going to take the time to shade and match all the values and do the background tone and all that jazz. I'm just trying to feather this thing away and leave it more of a study today. But yeah, the blocking in is the crucial thing. And the one thing I can say when I look at his hair, there's no white. Okay, it's all dark and middle tone. So that's the beginning process of what I'm doing here, is just putting in the middle tone and gradually to the dark. Okay, let's just do a little bit more here with the mustache. It's to the left of the nose. There was a hair tutorial that I had at the old DTO, which no longer exists, but it's in watch the Shea portrait. Watch the toned paper charcoal drawing Shea portrait. In that one, I talk about hair a lot. All of the Shea portraits, the young teen girl with the dirty blonde hair, I talk about hair in there a lot. And there's lots of individual strands of hair for you to see there as well. Also, I talk about hair a lot in the long figure drawing. It has like 28 lessons of the girl who's leaning back and her arms and her legs are up, and Marissa. And in that one, you can watch, I labeled the portrait, and I talk about hair in that one as well. Also, the guy model who's looking up, that's a good portrait drawing tutorial to watch for hair. So there is a lot on the website, but specifically, that will be definitely when I teach portrait drawing to my students. It's a 2-week endeavor, 2 6-hour classes, and I'll do that in the live classes. I'll talk about hair specifically because it's part of the lesson. Notice how I'm not making the nostril black. I'm keeping it somewhat light. We can do a surface plane over here, and we can get our little mono zero eraser and get the angle of that nose. Did you change your stand? Your angles seem better. It looks that your paper is more vertical and less horizontal. No, everything's the same. I draw the same 45-degree angle. It's probably just a little bit more tilted than 45, but I'm a big believer in 45-degree angle. It's just a very natural way to draw. It's very easy on your shoulder and your hand. I used to paint vertically, and I've been doing this now professionally. So I graduated from college in 1990. My first job was 1991. So that was 30 years ago. Okay. So I've been doing art professionally for just about 30 years. And so my body it's beat down, and there's no way I'm going to hold my arm out straight like this and paint on a vertical easel. I mean, I'm joking, but I'd be in traction at the hospital. My shoulder would totally freeze up. I mean, I have years, not hours, years in front of the easel painting, and I've just destroyed my shoulder. So that's 45-degree angle is great because my hand, the weight of my arm is on my hand, which is on the paper. on the drawing board. So I'm not holding up my arm. And that is torturous, especially when you're doing it 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay. So let's just do that. Helps. Block in. Wow, talk about hairdo. My God. He just looks like he looks like he's out of control. My God. Let's put in a surface plane here with the so people ask me all the time about shading. How do you shade? Okay, with your pencil, especially in the light part of the face. So let's talk about that very quickly. I talk about it in every video. So if guys have heard me talk about this, I apologize for being repetitive. But blocking in tone, which is this. So I would block in tone with a diagonal pencil stroke. So this is working more with tone. On the shadow side, I'm using a diagonal pencil stroke. It's very, very natural. That could be replaced or used with straight up and down. I also like to block in tone, block in value with a straight up and down pencil stroke. This is just you shading, trying to get rid of white paper. Nothing more and nothing less. But then you can also shade where you're going to leave some of your shading lines and they're going to be a little bit more slick. So this is now going to be shading, but you got to have a nice light touch. Shading with the lay of the land. So my shading lines, I'm sorry for blocking the drawing, are going to wrap around like that. Okay, now that looks too dark, and maybe it is too dark, but I didn't put the darks in yet. So remember, when I put my dark next to that, it's pretty light. Okay, you got it, Nancy. Thank you for joining. So let's do this. How long am I into this for? An hour and a half. So if you guys want to take off, I understand. I'm going to draw for about 5 more minutes, and then I just want to share with you a drawing that I just completed. Yeah, repetition. So, yeah, you could just start to shade, and now I'm holding my pencil back here for a lighter touch if you feel as though you have a heavy-handed sort of touch. I got to admit, this is pretty fun today. I love drawing old masters stuff. Maybe this could come down a little. So cool. Now, let's go back to... Just look, do a little bit and look. Where is his neck in relationship to the nostril? Edge of the nostril, edge of the neck. Okay, I'm okay with that. Let's just do... Is that even on the video? Line that separates. Okay, from the ear down, just be flowy. Shape of the hair. It's a little lower. And then this white brush stroke. Shadow shape for the fabric. Straight up and down pencil stroke to start to block in. And we're just feathering away. Let's feather this away. Man, this guy's hair is out of control. I just can't believe his hair. Can you believe we are drawing a portrait from 1641? Would this guy think that we would be drawing his portrait on YouTube in 2020? Hell year. I don't think so. And so, yeah, I think I just might leave it there. There's so much still to do. My God. But it's a study. It's a tutorial drawing and not a finished piece. The eye certainly needs to be darker. Maybe we'll go a little darker with that and we'll close it off that way. Yeah, I doubt he can comprehend light bulbs. Yeah, God. Yeah. Thank you, Anna. Yeah. Though to maybe. Okay, that's pretty funny. So yeah, I could keep going with this, guys, but I think we're gonna put it to bed. Again, I don't have any darks. Um, that's pretty funny. Let's see here. So his highlight and this, we can start to add that little dark. It's never gonna look like him 100% until I sit here for a gazillion years and match values. Okay, which I'm not prepared to do today. And but this was, I gotta admit, this was fun. And I might do a finished drawing of this because it's such a cool thing. Wow. Mustache angle. So the more you do, the better it would get. So let me just check on some of these comments. Do you strongly discourage turning the actual paper when shading? No, because if it works for you, do it. I don't do that. I just like to keep my paper the same way. There's the Cintiqs, the screen that the students use at the college to draw on, and you can rotate the screen, and I see people doing that. That screws me up. Like, I just like to keep my paper the same way, but it doesn't matter what I like. If that works for you, then turn the paper. It's really good for you to practice shading in different ways. So you can practice shading on a diagonal. You can practice shading straight up and down. Let me share with you a drawing. I just, students always say to me when they upload their drawings to the critique gallery at Drawing Tutorials Online, I couldn't get the photo to look like the drawing. I'm there with you. It's so hard to make the photo look like the drawing. That's the purpose of art, is to hold it in your hand and to go to the museum and to check it out, because photos can't replicate what you see in person. Yeah, thank you, Aurora. So I worked on, I'm going to have to zoom out. This piece all week, actually, I don't know how many hours. Let me see if I can't zoom out with it. Yeah, this one was fun. And it's on my website, MatthewArchambault.com, and you can see the full drawing there. So this one is with the same pencil. Let me just zoom out a wee bit more. Yeah. So this one is a mixed media piece. I did it with the Col-Erase pencil on painted illustration board. I didn't paint the border, though. I have a nice clean border because I used the blue tape to make a nice clean border. It's a 1-inch border. And so it's okay. I like it. I don't love it. It took me way too long. So the materials I used was my blue pencil and my white charcoal pencil. And I used this for about 2% of the drawing, only here in the sky. Okay, I put a touch of pan pastel on this thing, and I rubbed it a little bit over here, but literally 2%. And as soon as I started using the pan pastel, I knew I wasn't going to use it for the grass. But yeah, I just want to share with you some other things that I'm working on. And so this just has a very hard-edged line, and I'm okay with that. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, so it's okay. It's okay. Whenever you work on your artwork, you always think it's going to be better, and then you look at it when it's finished, and you're like, well, it's all right. I kind of liked it about 30%. Well, no, 60% of the way in. I'm like, yeah, this is coming out really good. And then you look at the finish, and you're like, well, I don't love it. So we zoom in and we'll close this class out. And yeah, it was fun. And I tried to make her head not so, you see so much more when it zooms in. I tried, you can see some of my pencil stroke direction around her butt, the modeling factors. If we kind of cruise down to her head, I wanted it to be softer. And Sandy, actually, Aurora, you can see the hair, I don't have a lot of detail. It's just really shape of hair, shape of face. Okay. And that's how you want to think. And this is the same thing I'm doing on the portrait of Anthony Van Dyck. You can see the shadow shape of the eye socket, the shape of the hair versus the shape of the face with the values. I'm making a big decision that the sky is going to be the middle tone, the hair is going to be the dark, the face is going to be the light middle tone. Okay? So there's lots of different things in this piece that you can cling on to. I have it on Facebook. I'm not a big fan of going on Facebook. It's just, yeah, I won't go there right now. But it's on my website. Just click on the link in the Show More description and then click on Figure Drawing. So guys, listen, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. This was a lot of fun. Ileana, thank you so much. Aurora, thank you so much. Marie, yeah, I agree with you, Marie. I'm never satisfied. There's like maybe a few pieces that I'm satisfied with, and that's, yeah, a few out of thousands. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bob. So just to recap, today's class was just really about starting from the eye and branching your way. You don't have to start the same way all the time. Oh, look at this. I'm zoomed in so you guys can see my wonderful skin. Let's zoom out. There we go. That's better. I look better from afar. My skin sucks. Joseph, thank you. Telmo, thank you. Sandy, thank you. Brienne Frog, thank you. Ismael, thank you. Sabi, thank you. Yeah, do the 1600s portraits this week, everybody. It'd be so much fun. Yeah, you have a peaceful weekend as well. Richard, Michael, thank you. Michael, Joel. Really appreciate you guys. Give the video a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. If you want to get notified for when I post the live streams, just click on the notification bell. You can also go to drawingtutorialsonline.com and sign up for my email list. I never send spam. I don't do sales very much ever. I'm not a salesy type of guy. There was a point when I was, but not anymore. It just doesn't work. Thank you, Dana. Frankie J, man, love your name. Wheeling, West Virginia. I don't know if you're in Wheeling, but West Virginia, love it, man. Thank you, Dawn. Esmeralda, thank you. All right, Craig, man, I'll see you on Wednesday, brother. Get me some shit to look at. Not too late on Tuesday. I'm using it's in the description below. Just click on Show More under the video, and you'll see all my art materials there. There's not much. Anna, I'll talk to you on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Thank you, Marie. Say hello to the cats. Thanks, Paul. I'll see you guys. Be good.